The principle I share with you in this video allowed me to easily go from making $10,000 a month to making $20,000 a month within just 90 days. This one sentence that Joe Dispenza said at one of the week-long advanced retreats I went to completely changed my life, gave me a necessary wake-up call, and made me wealthy. And that's why in today's video I'm going to reveal what Joe Dispenza said at the week-long advanced retreat I attended and how it completely changed my life, why this principle is absolutely essential if you want to manifest abundance, and why ignoring it makes it 100 times harder for you to manifest, the exact practical changes I made in my life that allowed me to double my monthly income from $10,000 a month to $20,000 a month in just 90 days after this week-long advanced retreat. And keep in mind that incorporating this principle into your life is the most important step. That's why I invite you to watch this video till the very end, because I will provide you with countless examples of how you can improve your manifestation results with this principle in a practical context. Now, what if I told you that the principle that I'm about to share with you is so simple, yet so powerful that most people, even when you tell them about it, would simply ignore it or laugh it off. But I know from my own personal experience that it can completely change the way you manifest, it can change your self-concept, and it can change your manifestation results. And it all started with a story that Joe Dispenza shared at a week-long advanced retreat. In fact, he shared the story of how his son inspired him, motivated him, and maybe even pressured him a little bit to watch Game of Thrones. He shared this story, how his son was telling him, "It's such a good show, Dad, you have to watch it." And I don't remember if he was watching it at home or in some hotel room while he was traveling, but he then said eventually, "Okay, I'm gonna start watching Game of Thrones." And that's where it got interesting. And Joe Dispenza then looked into the audience and shared his experience with Game of Thrones. And that's exactly how he reacted. Maybe he didn't use these exact words, but here's what happened. He then looked into the audience and said, "Murder, betrayal, and a word that I can't say right now in the first couple of minutes. I don't want to have that in my consciousness." And the whole audience was laughing, but the people in the audience didn't laugh in a way that you laugh about a joke where you feel not exposed by, but they were laughing in a way where you could really feel in the audience that a lot of the people had a wake-up call, because I can guarantee you that a lot of people had watched Game of Thrones. And yes, I also watched Game of Thrones. And while it's cinematically speaking an amazing series, I want you to think a little bit deeper about what you're doing to yourself when you're consuming this content, just like Joe Dispenza then shared the following sentence with us. Because what Dr. Joe Dispenza said next made me think about my way of living my life, and it then eventually allowed me to double my income within a short period of time, because I stepped into a completely new self-concept. So here's what he said: "Don't watch what you don't want to live." And in this moment, even the universe was like, whoa. Don't watch what you don't want to live. I really invite you right now to take a moment and to think about these words, to just feel into them, what they truly mean. And then I invite you to take a piece of paper or to take your journal and really use an actual piece of paper and an actual pen, because often when we write something in our smartphone, we just forget about it. But there's a different emotional investment when we write it on an actual piece of paper. And then I invite you to do the following exercise. I invite you to think about the last 3 movies that you've watched. And I then invite you to make a list with movie 1, movie 2, and movie 3, and to then write down 5 scenes that you can remember of each of those movies. And then I invite you in the next step to label each of these scenes with an H or with an L. And an H stands for high vibration and an L stands for low vibration. And this can truly open your eyes. This is the exact exercise that I did after this week-long advanced retreat. I wrote down the movies that I had watched, the TV shows that I had watched. I even wrote down the songs that I'm listening to. And it made me open my eyes to how many low vibrational lyrics and movies and scenes and situations I was feeding my subconscious mind. And once I then became consciously aware, because always remember, conscious awareness is the very first step towards change. Once I became consciously aware of what I had fed my subconscious mind over the years, I then realized that my emotional state immediately shifted now that I was thinking about all these scenes, all these moments, to the negative, in a lower vibration. And of course, the lower your vibration goes, the harder it is for you to manifest your dream life. Because remember this, our thoughts, the images that we see in our mind, and our emotions create our reality. In fact, Joe Dispenza always says this: we send the intention out into the field with the clear image, and we draw the experience back to us with the elevated emotion. And while you might not even be consciously aware of the impact that all the things that you consume, no matter if we're talking about movies, TV shows, songs, have on your subconscious mind, your subconscious mind does not forget. Because your subconscious mind incorporates all the images, all the sounds, and all the scenarios and the associated emotions of everything you consume. And this then creates within you images in your subconscious mind that sometimes also come into the conscious mind, but most of the time they stay in the subconscious. But remember this now, this is incredibly important. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what is happening in your physical reality and what is happening in your imagination. And that's exactly how manifesting works. But what happens now when all these images, all these associated emotions, and all these associated thoughts from the content that you consume throughout the day make it into your subconscious mind without you even being consciously aware of it? This means that your subconscious mind creates these images if you want it or not, and therefore you send a signal out into the field, which means you live what you watch. You create what you consume, and you become what you see. And that's why I now want to prove to you why this principle is so incredibly important if you want to manifest abundance, if you want to manifest the life you love, and if you don't want to fail at manifesting your dreams. Before I then share specific practical examples with you, how I incorporated this principle into my day-to-day life. And because Joe Dispenza always emphasizes the importance of assigning meaning to what you're doing so that you can truly change and therefore change your reality, I will now do my best to help you to assign the necessary meaning to this principle, don't watch what you don't want to live, so that you can change your life and manifest better, faster, and more efficiently, and become somebody who is actually in alignment with the dream life you want to create. But does that mean that if you watch a movie where the main character kills hundreds of people, that you will do the same? Well, I mean, hopefully not. Joe Dispenza famously said that our thoughts send out a specific vibration into the field. And in You Are the Placebo, he reminds us that we have to be careful about the thoughts we think, that we have to choose our thoughts wisely, because they are that powerful. And if you then, through your thoughts, send out a vibration to the field that is based on these kind of thoughts, which are thoughts that are based on emotions such as suffering, sacrifice, scarcity, then of course the universe cannot send the experience that you want, in this case the abundance you want, back to you, because the vibration of that thought with the abundance as a reality that you want are not in alignment at all. I mean, let's be honest for a moment. You can of course lie to me, you can lie to yourself, but you cannot lie to the universe. I know exactly what you're thinking. Do you think loving thoughts after you've watched a movie where hundreds of people died? Do you think empowering thoughts after you've watched a crime TV show where people felt powerless? Do you think giving and generous thoughts after you've watched a news segment in which the news anchor complained for half an hour about the terrible state of the economy? I think we both know the answer to these questions, at least if you're honest to yourself. And remember what Joe Dispenza said, every thought sends out a vibration into the field. And do you really want to send that vibration out into the field? Of course, I don't say that you will do anything evil if you watch a movie where people doing evil stuff. But what I do say, and I know it from my own experience, is that by consuming this, I promise myself to not use any swear words, you are making it incredibly hard for yourself to feel empowered, to feel love, to feel gratitude. And why would you make it so hard for yourself to manifest the loving relationship you want, to manifest the abundant dream life you want, to feel empowered in your life so that more experiences that make you feel empowered can flow to you? Why would you make it so hard? And I know it's not always easy to say no, because this vibration lowering, consciousness killing stuff is everywhere. That's what most people, I would say 99% of people, consider completely normal movies, normal TV shows and normal songs that everybody consumes because, hey, it's popular. But just because it's popular doesn't mean that it's good for you. I mean, the popular belief out there is that manifesting is not real and that you're a victim of your circumstances, that you have to work 10 to 12 hours a day to achieve any form of success, and oh my god, we are doomed. That's the popular belief out there. So always ask yourself, is what is popular really good for me? And yes, I know from my own experience how hard it can be to resist. Just a couple of months ago, I fell into the trap. In fact, I fell into the trap on one of my beloved business class flights that usually make me feel abundant for the 10, 11 or 12 hours I'm on it, so that I can manifest way more money than I actually spend on the business class flight. But what ended up happening was that two of my best friends told me over and over again, just like Joe Dispenza's son was telling him, but in my case it was not Game of Thrones, it was the Dune movies, that you have to watch them. They are amazing, they are so incredible, and that's exactly what I did. I then spent the business class flight that I had watching the Dune movies, and to be honest, cinematically speaking, they are incredible. But these movies are full of murder, betrayal, psychopaths that are completely crazy, and I could really feel after I had consumed these movies how I had lowered my vibration. And I then thought to myself, Sebastian, what are you doing here? Usually you feel completely abundant, in love with life, generous and giving, and oh my god, amazing on a business class flight, and now you did this to yourself. And then I thought, I should have better watched the Minions again. And even the universe agreed with me. This dude would have raised your vibration sky high. Now what about your emotions? In Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Dr. Joe Dispenza describes exactly this phenomenon. He describes how our emotional state can shift within moments. He uses the example of watching a sitcom and laughing hysterically. He also used the example of watching a football game and feeling competitive, and he used the example of watching the news and feeling anxious and fearful. In You Are the Placebo, he even cites research from Keiko Hayashi from the University of Tsukuba in Japan. According to Hayashi's study, diabetic patients who were watching an hour-long comedy program upregulated a total of 39 genes, 14 of which were related to natural killer cell activity. And natural killer cells are white blood cells that destroy infected and diseased cells like cancer cells. That's how powerful our emotions really are, and that's how easy it is for us to influence our emotional state, either consciously or unconsciously, with what we consume. But now you might be asking yourself, what does this have to do with you creating your abundant dream life and multiplying your income and your net worth. The clear intention sends the signal out into the field, and the elevated emotion draws the experience back to you. And in Becoming Supernatural, Dr. Joe Dispenza explained that the combination of your clear intention and the elevated emotions influences matter, and thereby creates your reality. Now let me ask you this. Do you feel empathy and a love for life after you've watched a movie in which hundreds of people got murdered? Do you feel safe and secure after you've watched a crime TV show in which people got kidnapped and held hostage? And do you feel joyful after you've watched a news segment in which the news anchor was talking about all the terrible things that happened exactly today in places that you haven't even heard of? And again, I can confidently say that we both know the answer. But here's the important part. Think about the emotions such as joy and safety and security that I just mentioned. These are emotions that are a part of an abundant life. Because if you have unlimited amounts of money, if you have more than enough, by definition, you would feel safe and secure and most likely also joyful. So what happens if you make it harder for yourself to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel joyful, and of course in the first example, when it comes to the emotions that I mentioned, to feel a love for life? Then you make it harder for you to attract the abundance you want. So yes, these emotions have everything to do with money. They have everything to do with your ability to manifest money. Because if you make it hard for yourself to feel safety, a love for life, joy and security, which are all natural emotions that we feel when we're truly abundant, then of course the abundance that you want cannot flow to you. That's why in You Are the Placebo, Dr. Joe Dispenza said that in order to change your life, you have to become someone else, and that creating a new personal reality as the same old personality just doesn't work. Now, what does your rich, wealthy and abundant self consume? Let me know in the comments below. And now I want to share the exact TV shows, the exact songs and the exact movies that I love to watch to raise my vibration and that allowed me to double my income within just 90 days, from making $10,000 a month to making $20,000 a month. And yes, this principle, don't watch what you don't want to live, is really that important for your manifestation success. Now, if you miss out on this last part, the powerful sentence that Joe Dispenza shared at the week-long advanced retreat won't change your life, and therefore your manifestation won't materialize. Because when I had a look at the list that I made for myself, the list of the movies and the scenes, I was in pure shock. I really felt that this was a complete mess, a complete and total mess, and I was faced with one big problem, a problem that was so big that even the universe asked me, "What are you going to watch now? I promised myself that I would not go back to the old self and consume what the old self had consumed all its life. And the idea of hiding in a cave and to get a heart attack whenever I open my YouTube app also didn't seem that appealing to me. So as an analytical German, here's what I did. It is time to make another list. I made a list of all the content that my abundant self would consume, and I asked myself, what would my abundant self, who gets richer and richer, what would this self watch? What kind of movies would make this new self, this more powerful self, this more empowered self feel even more abundant? What TV shows would make me feel in love with life? What songs would give me the feeling of success, the feeling of yes, I can do it, yes, I can manifest it? And what movies, TV shows and songs would then allow me to send these intentions with these new thoughts out into the field and to then draw the abundant experience I want to manifest to me with the elevated emotions that I would naturally feel once I consume this good stuff, the high frequency stuff. So here's the result of this list. I knew that I could do a better job when it comes to the music I was listening to, and even though I hadn't listened to any screamo and death metal since my spiritual awakening in the year 2020, still there was some room for improvement, and even the universe was begging me to not go back to the old self before my spiritual awakening. Please don't listen to this anymore, the screams are still ringing in my ears. And that's why I created a playlist for myself that's all about abundance, about wealth, about success, and about feeling amazing. But I have to warn you, you might not have the same taste in music that I have, so no matter if you love rock, hip-hop, classical music, whatever music you prefer, choose the music that makes you feel groovy, in the same way as the following songs make me feel groovy. Did he really just say the word groovy? Some examples for me are Sia, Never Give Up and Unstoppable, Lil Wayne and T-Pain, Got Money, because hey, I want to have a lot of money, and DJ Khaled, All I Do Is Win. And yes, I really listen to DJ Khaled. All I do is win, win, win no matter what. Now what about the TV shows that I watch? No more crime TV shows, no more betrayal, no more murder, but a lot of Scrubs, How I Met Your Mother, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Tools, tools, I have to have my tools. And if you don't understand this reference, then you have to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or at least type It's Always Sunny Tools in YouTube after you've watched this video. But now first, let's have a look at the movies that my abundant and often silly self watches. And yes, I love to be playful, I love to be silly, because even Joe Dispenza at one of the advanced retreats I went to said that whenever he's in this silly, playful mood, that's when the manifestations show up. And here's a list of the movies I love to watch. So yes, I traded revenge movies with Liam Neeson for The Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen, which is by far my favorite actor. I also love to watch Spaceballs from Mel Brooks, and of course The Minions. And on top of that, I traded all the panic-inducing and oh my god, the world will be ending YouTube videos for luxury living documentaries and business class flight reviews. So yes, nowadays I don't watch what I don't want to live, I only watch what I want to live. And that's why I now live the life that I've always dreamed of. And if you dream of a life full of abundance, financial freedom and unforgettable adventures, I invite you to click on the link in the description to find out more about my 8-week Abundance Reality Shift coaching program, which is my one-on-one coaching program for everybody who is ready to master the art of manifesting abundance. And the techniques and principles and strategies I share with you in this coaching program have allowed me to 20x my income from before my spiritual awakening, making less than $1,000 a month, to now easily making more than $20,000 a month while working 3 times less. And now you know how one sentence from Joe Dispenza completely changed my life, but did you already watch the video in which I share exactly how I manifested $500,000 with Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations? If not, then you can watch this video next.